Why buying a home in Canada is so friggin' hard right now. Yes, it is very, very hard, but it's not unachievable, but it's significantly harder than before, especially if you're younger, around like say millennial Gen Z and just getting started. Now I'm gonna show you the numbers and the stats on why it is so hard, but at the same time, show you that it's not impossible. It's doable, it's possible, but it's just harder now. Now, if you are getting started and trying to get into the real estate market with your first home or just wondering how you can do that, you can book a call with me using the link that's on the screen. It's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and the time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zhen, and if you're enjoying the content I'm putting out there, do me a favor and like and subscribe so I can get out to more other people who enjoy real estate content in the GTA. Now, I'm going to start this video by showing you another video, Inception style. This is the 1980s when prices were reasonable and prices blew up. Then, as things kind of settled down in the 90s, things didn't go up as much because we had that crash. And then now we're in the 2000s where we start having a little bit of increase. And then we're going to hit the 2008 point where we had a global financial crisis. And then we got a much easier way to get mortgages at 0% down. And then things start getting crazy. Here we are. We had a little blip because of 2017, 2018 with the stress test and ba-boom, pandemic. Kind of crazy, right? This is the chart when it's fully done. I'll put it up right here. But that is exactly why buying a home in Toronto is so hard right now. And before any boomer comments and says, back in my day, 18 rates were 18%. Look, I don't discount that rates were high when you bought a home, okay? But the prices back then were just a fraction of it. And I'd rather pay high interest rate and much lower prices than what it is right now, even if the rates are lower. So I can totally feel with the millennials and the Gen Z who haven't gone into the real estate market yet right now. And there are more than like enough reasons for them to be pissed off. Unfortunately, Gen Z millennials, it's also not the boomers' fault either, right? We can't accuse them of anything because these were unfortunately the cards that we were dealt. Yes, it's hard to get into the market, but it's not impossible. You can see in this chart over here that these are the home ownership rates based on age. This chart applies to the last 10 years of the millennial generation. So you can see that anyone who is basically under 25 has a sub 5% chance of home ownership. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just hard. However, it's just that with everything being delayed right now, I think home ownership is delayed as well. You can see over here that the average first-time home buyer is actually 36 right now, which is right in the middle of the millennial generation, which I don't think it's a coincidence, but that age 36 is older than all the ages in the previous chart. And this is because our life expectancy has gone longer. We don't get married in our teens anymore, probably like early, maybe late 20s. We don't have kids at 18 anymore, more like 30s because people go to school and have to start a career first. So it's no different for home ownership. It is also delayed. Now, I've talked about generational wealth transfer for a very, very long time, what I remember. But if your parents own real estate, you are more likely to own real estate because there are benefits that can be transferred and passed on through like down payment gifts or even loans, or even like if your parents help you qualify for a mortgage, which is very normal. So when you look at this chart over here, you can see a very big correlation between parents who own real estate and your ability to own versus those whose parents do not own versus your ability to own. But this is not the full story. If you dig deeper into the iceberg, like really deep, while having rich parents does help with your home ownership, when you look at the 80,000 plus income bracket, they still have a 45% chance of ownership. Much higher than the 8% if your income is below 40,000, which is a little bit more than minimum wage right now. This just shows you that unfortunately, you do need to be a high earner to own real estate in the GTA or Canada. Gone are the days where like a single parent or like a single person on a decent regular job can own real estate like I showed you in the chart. It's like the 80s. Those days are gone, right? And when you look deeper into that chart, the 80,000 plus range, those who have parents that own real estate and don't, the only difference is about less than 10%. So I wouldn't say it's a very important aspect of home ownership. It's just it helps. So there's no need to scapegoat your parents or other people's parents, whether they own real estate or not. The median household income in Ontario right now is just a little bit shy of 100,000. So yes, 50% of the Ontario population can afford to buy by that metric, right? But the other cannot. The challenge is what that home that you're buying gets varies depending on where you are. And if you're in the Greater Toronto area, you're not getting a freehold home. It's very likely going to be a condo. You just got to move up the real estate ladder over time when you get older so that you can have a detached home, right? You just have to start with a condo, and that is kind of a expectation that hasn't been changed yet based on the price points. But on a cheerier note, I have also met many, many incredible millennials who have bought homes when they're in their 20s because they worked very hard and they saved for the down payment and they've increased their income. So it's not that it's impossible, it's just much harder than call it the last two generations had it before us. So yes, I'm acknowledging millennials and Gen Z have it hard, but it's not impossible. And there's nothing wrong with getting help from your parents or other people either, because prices have gone so high that 1 in 4 Ontarians, or 40% of the people who are buying, have had help, whether that's a gifted down payment or some kind of loan, right? Or just helping qualify. So it's very normal. Fun fact, it's very normal in the Chinese culture to do this, even before this was trendy, right? The challenge with home ownership right now is that it's difficult to look back and say, hey, the previous generation had it so easy, because right now it's definitely not as easy as what it once was before. Because back then, the home ownership rate was 69% 10 years ago. So like 70% of the people own their homes. Now, like it's 66.5% and it continues going down. Another fun fact, Canada has a high home ownership rate than the US right now. It's just where people want to live in Canada is very unaffordable. But don't let me sugarcoat it that way for you, because Canada may have a higher home ownership rate, but when you look at the big cities in Canada, call it the people in BC or Ontario, right? Vancouver, Toronto, it is unaffordable by most measures unless you're a high earner. You look at this chart here, the price to income ratio, meaning what the multiplier is for the average income to the average price home. You can see that in all the Americas, North and South. Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto rank higher than most places, higher than New York from a price to income ratio. Yeah. Yes, New York is very expensive on price perspective, but the incomes are higher. So as a Canadian, this is nothing we should be proud about. Our big three cities are way more unaffordable by price perspective to incomes than our counterparts in New York, because our incomes have not caught up. And this is kind of a side effect of having high immigration, right? Now, when I isolate just for North America, you can see this chart here, how ridiculous we are. We're so much worse than all the big cities in the US. And if you look where Calgary is, you wonder why so many people are moving there, right? However, if I zoom out globally, you can see that while Vancouver is the most unaffordable city from an income perspective in North America, it pales in comparison to some of the other countries where the population is significantly larger than what we have right now in Canada, despite it growing very fast right now. So is it difficult to buy a house in Canada right now? Yes, 100%. It is much more difficult, especially if you're young in the Gen Z or the millennial generation. But it's not impossible. We just have to work harder at it. Yes, the deck is stacked and rigged and whatever you want to use against us, but it's still possible. So do not give up. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to get any easier regardless of what happens next in the election or who runs the country next. This is some ridiculous generational mindset shift that is about to happen in the next 10 years about the homeownership rate. And that door, while open right now, may get harder and harder to get through to get to homeownership. That's just unfortunately what I see. Hopefully this video gives you kind of a glimmer of hope that you can get into the real estate market. It's harder, but if you're looking on help on how to cement yourself as a homeowner in the GTA and Toronto, you can book a call with me to chat about strategies or where you are in life and what to do so that you can get into the real estate market. If you want to have that chat with me, you can book a call with me using the link that's on the screen. That's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya! Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one or this one? You know what? Just watch them both.